Hi, my name is Karen Holmes. I'm the founder and director of the World Peace Organization for the One World Government. Tonight I'd like to talk a little bit about the impeachment trial and the conflict that's going on between the Republicans and the Democrats. And I would like to explain a little bit. There's a very large idea behind this, but I want to just look at a very small part of it tonight and talk about this from a perspective that most people would understand. When you talk about character defamation campaigns, most people will think of it as they'll say, well, somebody wrote something nasty about me in a newspaper, or, it's Devin Nunes, for example, the congressman from California, has become kind of famous for his character defamation lawsuits against the Devin Nunes' cow or something like that, some sort of was it a Facebook page or a YouTube channel or something like that where they talk about him. People consider that to be character defamation. But character defamation is actually not what most people think it is. Character defamation is a form of genocide where it's a sense of judgment against somebody. But that's usually part of part of the act of revenge. People can perpetrate it's a form of genocide, but people are not aware that genocides occur all the time. You think of it as being in Africa or Eastern Europe or someplace in Southeast Asia, like in the Sudan or Srebrenica or Pol Pot, and all the terrible things that are happening with the Uyghurs in China, that area. What's happening now is there's genocides occur on every level, and character defamation is one of them. But usually there's a combination with that. The people who play the game of genocide are actually not who you think it would be. In fact, George W. Bush, the Iraq War devolved as a genocide, and that's why it was so hard to unravel. It was like a character defamation campaign against Saddam Hussein, calling him axis of evil. That sense of judgment made it different. It was the opposite of a war. War is based on the power game of pride, and genocides are based on the game of envy. And the people who perpetrate genocides basically are people who come from a lack of capacity. I'm not going to go into that in full depth right now, because that's something that we're going to talk about at other times. But think about character defamation campaigns and how they happen even on a family level. Divorces and can turn into genocides. Okay, I've talked about the 3 character defamation or conflict resolution brochures that we have. I didn't flip this video, so this is probably backwards, but these are unraveling the conflict in your life, mediation of conflict, and then avoiding conflict. So these, and I've talked about these before, so in another video. I wanted to talk about this avoiding conflict video or brochure here, and it compares genocides to romantic attachments. So when you stop and think of it, you think of Valentine's Day is coming up, and it's the day when everybody is supposed to fall in love with this romantic image of like the Hallmark movies, and everybody's falling in love all the time. Well, romantic relationships, romantic attachments turn into genocides, and this brochure actually explains step by step how genocides devolve. And every time I channeled this brochure, and every time I looked at this one of my guides, Seth, gave me this, or maybe it was Lady Gaia. I don't remember. Basically, what they do, what it does is by comparing it to that. I also, every time I look at this, I compare this with the Republicans and the Democrats, and how it's like the relationship, it has become very, very toxic. So this is basically what we're looking at. When you stop and think of it, the Republicans, let's say the Democrats are focused on principles, basically. Not everyone, but mostly the stereotypical Democrat is focused on principles, and the stereotypical Republican is focused on power. And this is why Donald Trump and the people that he's brought into the Republican Party they're focused on power, and they're focused on money and power. And it used to be that let's say when I was in high school, the Democrats were the blue collar people and the working people, and they that's what they were focused on. And then the Republicans were like the big business people, and when the party started to transition from big business into like the conservative Christian idea, and it totally changed what people were focused on. So what happened is this idea of conflict with character defamation campaigns. I think that the issue related to the revenge that happened between the Republicans and the Democrats are basically turning into a genocide. The Iraq War evolved as a genocide. As I said, it was because it was a character defamation campaign against Saddam Hussein. George W. Bush declared that he was axis of evil, declared him evil, and said, after all, this guy tried to kill my father. And the thing of it is, the Iraq War really hasn't ended yet, because there is no protocol for ending a genocide. It just sent off ripples of effects, including the economic crisis, and that set the stage for Donald Trump eventually to come in. It was like the misunderstanding started with a grand lie that there were weapons of mass destruction, and then when Donald Trump eventually got into office, he played the same set of power games that George W. Bush played. So now what we're dealing with is where is this going to end? Where is this going to end? So Donald Trump got into office promising that he was going to work to undo everything that Barack Obama did while he was in office. So he's and think about Brett Kavanaugh in his confirmation hearings, when he said he was talking about the Clintons. He like lashed out. There was like a moment, and that's when Lindsey Graham basically stood up and kind of defended him and pushed that idea through. There was that moment when Brett Kavanaugh basically, let's say, attacked the Clintons, and then Lindsey Graham lashed out to protect him and looked at everybody and said, I don't remember exactly, but isn't that kind of like the point where the people backed down and they said, we can't deal with this. It's like a flummoxing idea. So genocides are based on weaving illusion, but Donald Trump has been weaving his illusion. So where does the truth come out? The truth of this is no one has the right to judge somebody else to be evil. the character defamation campaign, and I understand this probably better than other people, because when I introduced the Plan for World Peace, I've been dealing with the character defamation campaign also. People have been considering me evil, and they've been attacking me and getting revenge on me for a long time, and as part of this great big huge plan. And this is basically what happens whenever somebody comes up with a big idea that threatens the security and support of the people who rely on the existing structure for their security and support. So character defamation is actually considered part of an act of revenge, with the 5 power games coming together. And the problem with it is, the reason why it doesn't work is because it works that way, where there are five groups of people are working together. But then what happens is the people who brought them in actually unravel and undermine each other. And that's where our organization has been lately, is that the people who've been getting this character defamation campaign against me and my organization and the plan, within our organization, the potential members of the organization, they've been undermining each other, the people who brought them in. Now, the last thing I wanted to say is, I have a feeling that the Republicans and the Democrats are going to have to, I'm neither. I don't fit into that group. I don't support one or the other. I vote people, and our organization doesn't support anybody. By law, we can't support anybody for president or anybody else. We don't give donations and anything like that to any political party. We can't even lobby, basically. So basically, what has to happen, I think, is that there has to be a way. Like I said, if you read one of these avoiding conflict brochures that's on the website in the reference menu section, you can link to it on the left side of the first page of the home page, index page, or the home page, basically, of the website. You can get copies of these, and they're very, very interesting. But if you read this one about avoiding conflict, you'll see that it compares genocides and romantic relationships. But it also, whenever I think about the Republicans and the Democrats, I think that a genocide is devolving here too, between those two parties. Donald Trump created a lot of conflict with Barack Obama, and I have a feeling that Barack Obama could very well, if he actually stood up and defended himself, I think about a character defamation campaign and the revenge against him and Hillary Clinton and the party. I think they could actually probably succeed at winning in court. Okay, I'm not recommending that anybody do that. I think that for the good of our country, we should actually start to pay attention to what character defamation really is, and as an act of revenge, and the idea that anybody who's judging somebody to be evil is actually functioning. They're actually, what they're doing is they're functioning with, let's say, they're focused on their own lack of capacity, and they're judging other people to be either, it's like a judgment of black and white, instead of in good and evil, rather than just saying, well, people are just people and everybody plays the games. So that's the sense of unity, is that we all play the games. We learn the games when we're children, and this is the problem that people have. So I just wanted to talk about that for a few minutes tonight, and clarify that. I think that eventually what's going to happen is that this has to be clarified, and people have to understand this. Otherwise, we are going to find that the conflict being caused between the Trump supporters and the people who are standing on the principles, the Democrats who are standing on the principles, this has to be resolved, basically, I think, with the Trump impeachment process, but also looking at these power games and letting them go, because the games are very oppressive to the people, and it's time for them to stop. Enough is enough. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe, and share this with other friends, your friends, so that when you watch this, this is something that you need to look at and consider in your own life, because these are the things that are going to have probably the biggest profound effect in your life and the life of your children and grandchildren. Thank you.